Hello, and welcome back to this AI Alchemy channel. I am Rachel. I am the owner and founder of AI Alchemy, and my role through the series of lives that I put together and the content that I'm putting out on my various social media channels is to bring you all of the latest developments in the world of AI and automation, and really kind of simplify it a bit, break it down, and make it more accessible for small business owners, coaches, consultants, basically anybody who is really wanting to make their life a little bit easier and use some automation to help them along the way. Now, this week I have been road testing AI-powered video editing tools, and in particular, the tool I've looked at this week is Opus. Now, this tool promises to take your long-form video, chop it into beautiful short clips, add captions, and magically save you hours of work. So today, my role is to answer the real question that everybody wants to know. Are tools such as Opus actually worth it? Especially if you're trying to run a calm, profitable business in around 10 hours a week or less, which is what I do with my own business. So we are going to have a look at what this tool does particularly well, any shortfalls that I've come across, what the tool is genuinely useful for, and how I would recommend using the tool if you choose to integrate it into your own business. Now, as usual, I don't give demos in these particular lives because I don't want to overwhelm. I just want to give some grounded experience and some clarity so you can then make some decisions for yourself as to whether it is something you want to try. And if you do want step-by-step user workflows, I have, as usual, created a £4.99 ebook walking you through exactly how I use this tool calmly and simply. Now, I will mention the ebook again later on in this live, and you will find the link to purchase it somewhere in the description later on. But I'm not here to focus on that now. Let's just get into discussing this particular tool. So before we even get into talking about software, I want to ground this conversation in a sense of reality, because most of the women in my world are not influenced with 30 plus hours a week to spend on their business, let alone editing video content. In my experience, most of my customers are running a business, they're raising families, they're supporting partners, or they've got perhaps some aging parents, they're managing their home. Maybe you're like me and you're looking after animals. Yes, that's a choice, but it's still part of my life that needs an allocation of time. So generally, the women I work with are spinning 9 or 10 emotional plates before they've even sat down for their lunch. So when I look at any new AI tool, I'm not asking, is this cool? I'm not interested. What I am asking is, does this genuinely make life lighter, and does it help to protect my 10-hour work week? Because if a tool adds noise or complexity or overwhelm or more tasks to your already extensive to-do list, it doesn't matter how clever it is, it's not helpful. And that's the lens that I use when I review any tools, and particular with this AI video editing tool this week. That was very much the stance that I approached it with. So what does this software actually do? Well, AI video editing tools in general are designed to take a long form video recording, automatically identify those high value moments that have got the potential to go viral or bring more eyes to what you're talking about. They will remove pauses and filler words. They can add captions. Sometimes they can add dynamic subtitles. They can give you format for reels, shorts, TikToks, basically any channel you want your content to be seen on. And they export directly for posting. So instead of you spending 2 or 3 hours trimming clips manually, never mind all of the time that you might have spent recording and doing your makeup and touching up the lighting and everything else. The idea is that with these tools, you upload once, maybe you click a few buttons, and then you can walk away with multiple short form videos ready to go. Now, for women whose time is limited and often fragmented, that is potentially incredibly powerful and something that's probably going to spark your interest. Because recording one session can become an entire week's worth of content for you. And that's exactly what I tried to do this week. So, as I said, the tool that I chose to work with this week is Opus. So that's what we're going to be looking at now. Let's start with the good stuff, what it is really good at. For sure, this tool massively reduces time and friction, and that probably is the biggest strength. The speed at which this tool operates is mind-blowing. What used to take hours now can be done in the time it takes me to make myself a cup of tea. And you know, when I go and make a cuppa and my video is waiting for me to watch when I come back, that impresses me. Speed matters, not because we want to hustle, but because we want to close the laptop sooner and get back to life. You know, whether that be with the kids, with the horses, with your hobbies, having a nap, whatever it is you want to do. You want a business that works for you, not the other way around. Opus, I found as well, was really good at removing technical barriers, because you don't need to be good at editing. You basically just come and do what you're good at. You bring your own zone of genius. You talk about what it is you want to say. You deliver your message, and the software literally handles the rest. That makes content creation instantly feel lighter, calmer, and more accessible. I would go out there and say pretty much to everybody. Now, another thing that I thought this tool was particularly good at is that it allows consistency without grind. Now, some of you will have heard me say in the past, you know, if your brand consistency is hugely important to you, then some of the tools I've road tested previously, I've sort of said, maybe it's not really ideal for what you're looking for. But Opus, I have to say, gave me short form videos that performed well across multiple platforms, and it gave me consistency in the way that it styled and presented each individual video that it gave me. And consistency is often the area I find where people burn out, because they might get one really great piece of content from AI and then nothing else matches it. And because you've had this one and it looks fabulous, you spend ages trying to recreate, and actually you're burning up more time, and it's frustrating and it's overwhelming. But Opus, I found, really took the edge off that, and it gave me something consistent that I was happy with again and again and again. It also removes that constant sense of I should be posting panic. I'm sure we have all had it. And what it does is it replaces that panic with a sense of structure, which is exactly what we need more of in a nervous system safe business. Okay. I found that it creates more from less. So one long form video for me became multiple clips, captions, quotes, repurposable text. That's not an easy word to say. Meaning that you think once, you build your content, whether you do it yourself or you get something like ChatGPT to help you write a script, and then the system multiplies the impact of what you're saying. Now, a tool like this is fully aligned with the 10-hour workweek philosophy that I talk to you about consistently on these lives every week. So who do I think this tool is suitable for? Well, I loved it. I would particularly recommend this kind of tool if you're a coach or a consultant, maybe a service-based entrepreneur, a course creator, a membership host, or really anyone whose brand is built around teaching, storytelling, or any kind of thought leadership. And especially if you prefer speaking to writing. Maybe you're somebody who works on their own or certainly doesn't have the luxury of a big team. You need to stay visible, but you want to do it calmly and without the pressure of putting something out because it's better than having nothing at all. And it's also really good if you're trying to balance work with a very real life. If your business is content light or private client only, it may still be helpful, but it really shines for women who are building brand presence, I would say. So how I would recommend using Opus? Well, the rhythm that I used, and so obviously it's the one I'm going to suggest to you today, is record once a week. And that should be a calm, simple, long form video, probably something like I'm doing now. I may even see if I can get some content from this for some shorts and reels later. Optimally, you want between sort of 8 and 15 minutes in length. Now, the nice thing is perfection is not required. That takes a big amount of pressure off the shoulders of most of us. You upload your video into Opus or whatever AI video editing tool you're looking at, and then you let it think for you, run through its processes, and as I did, go and make yourself a cuppa. And when you come back, you can have a look at what it has generated. Now, with the videos it gives, you just approve or say, that's not the one. You don't need to micro edit these things at all. You are essentially the editor-in-chief, not the production department. And that is a very real change that I think most of us are going to be very, very excited about. Then, and this is the really important part, you schedule your video and you walk away. Go live your life. Kids, horses, tea, real world, whatever that is. Because the whole point of what we're trying to do is increase our output without increased effort. Now, as I said at the start of the video, if you want the exact workflow written out clearly so you can follow it step by step, the $4.99 ebook that I have written to accompany this week's content does exactly that. It's going to give you scripts, prompts, troubleshooting guidance, really everything you need, just to sort of give you that extra little bit of reassurance if this is the kind of tool that you think you would like to try. Now, with all of the good, there has to be some shortfalls. Nothing is ever perfect. And I'm always completely honest and transparent in these lives. So that is where we are going next. This software is not perfect. Perfection doesn't exist. It can occasionally misjudge the context, particularly if you're talking about something a little bit more generic. Sometimes it picks clips that aren't what you might think is the strongest moment in your content. So human judgment is still needed. And I've said this with absolutely everything I do. AI is there to automate, to speed up the process, to hold our hand, to basically be the unpaid assistant in the office. But you are still the human hybrid that takes what AI gives you and sense checks it before you put it out there to represent you and your brand. I don't think I'm anywhere near ever saying to you, you can take it and run, okay? Another thing you might find, branding options can be limited, and that's really down to each individual user. So I'm putting it out there as a caveat, because if you've got quite a simple brand that is easily repeatable, you're going to love this. But if you're somebody that has very finite details in your branding presentation, then you might find some limitations around these kind of tools. So if you want fully bespoke typography, layouts, creative control, you may find you are a bit restricted with your styling options and solutions. Now, of course, there are subscription costs. It's not always cheap, which means you have to be sure you're actually going to use it, not just collect it and add it to your digital clutter. It still requires your voice. AI is not and should not replace your presence. If you're someone who feels uncomfortable being on a camera, you're still potentially going to be struggling with the mindset or practice gap to bridge first. And you know, it is you that it's going to be putting out there. If you really don't want your face out there, there are other tools that you can use, Opus not being one of those. Now, going back to the good stuff, what I liked, well, let's be honest, I loved the time freedom this gave me. The feeling of support was it was literally like saying, here you go, marketing team, take this away and work your magic on it and come back to me when you've got something concrete to show me. It was literally that good. The reduction in cognitive load was immense, and the alignment with sustainable visibility was just phenomenal. So I can put out multiple pieces of content a day, if I'm so minded, on every single channel that represents my business. But most of all, I liked that it allowed me to keep my work week at around the 10 hours without compromising at all on the quality of work that I am putting out. As I said, it felt like a teammate, not a taskmaster. And that, I think, is something that is so important for any of us business owners. What I didn't love, occasionally you have a clunky clip choice, or sometimes it would sort of cut off and feel a little bit abrupt in its ending. The cost element, if you are a casual user and you're just dabbling and playing around for fun, yes, there's some free trial softwares that you can use for, you know, a limited period of time to see if you like it. But for most of these pieces of software, there is then a subscription cost. So you do need to make sure that the cost is outweighed by the amount of content you're getting out of it. If you're someone that has the temptation to overproduce content simply because it's easier, then I would advise caution on this, because our goal is not to generate more noise. What we want is better quality for less effort. So boundaries still matter. You know, yes, this tool is going to save you hours, but that doesn't mean you refill those hours just by making more and more and more video content. So my final verdict on Opus this week is that, yes, I would absolutely recommend using this tool with intention. Okay. Now, I would say if you are a woman who wants calm consistency, sustainable growth, and support in getting you closer to a 10-hour work week, then a tool like Opus can be incredibly valuable as part of your workflow, as long as you use it thoughtfully and don't let it turn your life into an endless content treadmill. And like I said before, if you would like a structured step-by-step guidance on setting up a calm content system using AI, the £4.99 ebook that I've written to accompany this live walks you through absolutely everything I did clearly and gently. It's designed to save you time, soothe your nervous system, and support the way you want and deserve to live. Now, as always, thank you for being here today and for choosing to build businesses that honor your real lives, your families, and your energy and your humanity. You don't need to work more. You just need fewer moving parts. Now, if this is helpful, please do feel free to subscribe, share, and simply take one thing you heard today and integrate it gently into your business. With that, I will say goodbye, and I will be back again, same time next week, to bring you another AI development. Bye-bye.